From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Sayed. Our top story for today. Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus has been sworn in as the head of Bangladesh's interim government. The 84-year-old took the oath on Thursday night in Dhaka. The move comes following intense student-led protests that led to the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Reports suggest Hasina has fled to India. The oath ceremony was administered by President Muhammad Shahabuddin and was attended by foreign diplomats, civil society members, and opposition leaders. Representatives from Hasina's party remained absent. The interim cabinet was selected after discussions among student leaders, civil society, and the military. It consists of 16 members, mainly from civil society, including 2 student protest leaders. Bangladesh has been facing riots since July. Protests erupted over a quota system for government jobs. Critics claimed the quota system favored Hasina's party affiliates. The riots intensified, resulting in more than 300 deaths. In his initial remarks, Yunus said, "Bangladesh is a family. We have to unite it." The transition period comes at a critical time as Bangladesh grapples with economic challenges and political unrest. Earlier this year, Hasina's government sent Yunus to jail on the charges of violating labor laws. The former government had filed 199 cases against him. Hasina accused Yunus of sucking blood from poor people. In a historic move, Bangladesh's opposition, the Jamaat-E-Islami party, has reopened its office in capital Dhaka after more than a decade. This coincides with the resignation and departure of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The Jamaat-E-Islami party office was shut in 2011. Shafiqur Rahman, the head of Jamaat-E-Islami, entered the party's head office late Monday. The reopening comes as President Muhammad Shahabuddin has promised the release of political detainees. The Jamaat-E-Islami party has been banned multiple times since its formation. The party's head office and student wing are discussing how to handle the aftermath of recent protests that resulted in hundreds of deaths. At least 6 of the top Jamaat leaders were hanged for opposing the 1971 Liberation War during Hasina's tenure. The United States has called for zero tolerance towards sexual abuse and rape of detainees. The comments come after a disturbing video surfaced showing Israeli soldiers sexually assaulting a Palestinian detainee. The incident is reported to have taken place at the infamous Steteman detention camp. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller condemns the footage as horrific. He says the video must be fully investigated by the Israeli government and military and says accountability is crucial and criticized any attempts to justify these crimes. He says there is no excuse for rape. Israel airstrikes have killed at least 27 Palestinians and injured 77 others in the past 24 hours in the Gaza Strip. Amongst the victims are a mother and her children, who were incinerated in their tent in Khan Yunus. 10 others perished in a house bombing at the Farage refugee camp. The World Central Kitchen reported the killing of a Palestinian staff member. This comes 4 months after 7 staffers of the United States-based non-governmental organization were killed by Israeli strikes. The Israeli army has ordered residents of Beit Hanun and Beit Lahia in northern Gaza to evacuate ahead of a major ground operation. Israel has revoked the accreditation of 8 Norwegian diplomats in response to Norway's recognition of a Palestinian state and critical comments by Norwegian officials. The World Health Organization warns of significant hurdles in preventing a polio outbreak in Gaza due to ongoing assaults. The clean water crisis is intensifying, exacerbated by the destruction of water resources by Israeli forces. In Khan Yunus, more than 70% of the city's wells have been destroyed, leaving residents struggling for drinking water. Since last October, Israel has killed at least 39,699 Palestinians and injured 91,722 others in Gaza. Experts in the British medical journal The Lancet have claimed the death toll could be as high as 186,000. Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice. The court has ordered Tel Aviv to immediately halt its military operations in the southern city of Rafah. A Berlin court has convicted 22-year-old German-Iranian activist Ava M. for chanting the slogan "From the river to the sea" at a rally. The court has imposed a €600 fine on Ava M. The protester argues the phrase was meant to signify a desire for peace rather than support for any specific group. The slogan has been controversial in Germany due to its perceived association with anti-Israeli sentiments. Germany's strict stance on such phrases reflects its commitment to protecting Israel. The German government has outlawed activities and symbols linked to the Palestinian resistance, citing concerns over anti-Semitism and incitement. Justice Minister Marco Buschmann said in February that the phrase could constitute anti-Semitic incitement and be understood as condoning the killings committed in Israel. A new poll by the Chicago Council on Global Affairs shows a shift in American attitudes towards defending Israel. The survey was conducted between June 21st and July 1st. It reveals that 55% of Americans now oppose sending U.S. troops to support Israel if it is attacked. 41% are still in favor. This marks a notable decline from past years. In the previous polls, the support for sending U.S. troops hovered just above 50%. The timing of the poll coincides with heightened tensions in the Middle East. Israel is preparing for potential retaliation from Iran and its allies following recent high-profile assassinations. U.S. military assets have been moved to the region. Analysts say the declining U.S. support may stem from discontent over Israel's ongoing military actions in Gaza. A Gallup poll in March shows that most Americans disapprove of Israel's military action. A poll conducted across 43 countries shows a tremendous drop in support for Israel over the first 3 months of the war. Democrats push to block future Muslim bans with new legislation. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. In a preemptive move against a potential return of Donald Trump to the White House, U.S. Democrats have reintroduced the No Ban Act. Spearheaded by Senator Chris Coons and Congresswoman Judy Chu, this bill aims to bolster federal immigration laws to prevent future discriminatory bans based on religion. The No Ban Act seeks to ensure that any travel restrictions are carefully targeted and free from religious bias. Chu criticized Trump's previous Muslim ban, calling it a hateful stain that caused lasting harm by separating families and violating American values. Coons echoed these sentiments, condemning the policy as cruel and counterproductive. The bill, initially introduced in 2019, has passed the House twice, but faced a challenging path in the Senate. The Biden administration supports the legislation, denouncing the prior ban as inconsistent with America's inclusive traditions. In 2021, the administration of Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris issued a statement in support of the legislation, calling the prior ban a stain on our national conscience. Lawmaker Cori Bush has issued a stark warning to the pro-Israel lobby AIPAC. The warning comes after Bush faced primary loss in St. Louis at the hands of Wesley Bell. AIPAC has spent $8.5 million to unseat her. Bush is a key member of the Progressive Squad and vows to confront AIPAC. In a fiery speech, Bush declared her intent to challenge AIPAC's influence. She criticized AIPAC's efforts to sway the U.S. elections in favor of Israel. Bush says, "They've radicalized me, and now they need to be afraid." Bush's defeat marks AIPAC's second major win this election cycle, following their role in unseating another progressive, Jamal Bowman. In a recent Fox News interview, former President Donald Trump asserted that he saved Minnesota Governor Tim Waltz from right-wing protesters in 2020 during the George Floyd unrest. Trump claimed he publicly praised Waltz to deter the demonstrators. However, Waltz has previously said Trump's tweets, including a call to liberate Minnesota, actually incited the presence of armed groups at his home. Trump described how he allegedly helped Waltz by influencing protesters to leave, but Waltz's accounts and earlier conversations with Trump suggest otherwise. Waltz's own recollections and documented interactions with Trump during the crisis paint a more complex picture, with mixed messages and contradictory statements. The events from that tumultuous period continue to stir debate and confusion over the actions and impacts of both political figures. On Wednesday, a source close to Waltz told The Guardian the call to which Trump referred to took place a month before Floyd's murder, days after Trump's Liberate Michigan tweet. Far-right leader in the UK, Nigel Farage, has confessed to spreading false information following the tragic knife attack in Southport that killed 3 young girls. Farage is the leader of Reform UK. Reform UK is a right-wing populist political party. Farage posted an online video saying the attacker's bodyguard was known by the security services. Misinformation about the identity of the attacker was also spread. It was alleged that the attacker is a Muslim. Further amplification of the incorrect information by figures like Andrew Tate sparked widespread riots and violence across England and Northern Ireland. Farage defends his actions. He says his intent was to seek clarity. However, his statements, based on unreliable sources, only fueled unrest. The UK is now facing its worst wave of riots in 13 years. Over 400 arrests have been made amidst the heightened anti-Muslim violence. The chaos underscores the dangerous impact of misinformation in times of crisis. The National Union of Students in the UK has condemned the alarming rise in xenophobic and Islamophobic violence across the country. The union's statement says a dangerous trend is on the rise and racist sentiments are becoming normalized. Societal issues are being blamed on immigration, such as hospital wait times and job losses. This rhetoric has impacted the educational sector, vilifying international and refugee students. The union says that the UK must be a safe haven for migrants and is calling on student leaders to remain vigilant and actively challenge racism. The union also urges students to support their Muslim peers and denounce all forms of discrimination. The UK has been grappling with Islamophobic violence fueled by false far-right claims about a stabbing in Southport. Police have clarified that the suspect is a local 17-year-old, not a migrant or Muslim, as falsely reported. Northern Ireland's capital, Belfast, is reeling from a troubling increase in racially motivated attacks targeting its Muslim community. Over the past week, far-right protesters have vandalized Muslim-owned businesses, including a devastating arson attack on a supermarket that resulted in more than $300,000 in damages. The violence escalated as protesters moved through central Belfast, initially aiming at an Islamic center, but eventually targeting multicultural areas. Police received 13 reports of criminal damage and 5 of arson, and are now intensifying their investigations and patrols. Temporary Assistant Chief Constable Melanie Jones condemned the attacks, stressing they have no place in Northern Ireland. Local leaders and Ireland's Deputy Prime Minister Michael Martin have also condemned the violence, highlighting concerns over the role of social media in inciting hatred. In a vibrant display of cultural unity, approximately 15,000 people gathered at Frontier Park in Naperville, Illinois, for the highly anticipated Halal Festival on August 3rd. Hosted by the Illinois Muslim Chamber of Commerce, the event featured an array of culinary delights from around the world, including dishes from Pakistan, Turkey, Indonesia, and many more. The festival, which required a $7 ticket for the entry, was graced by prominent figures such as Pakistani Consul General Dar Karim, as well as consuls from Turkmenistan and Indonesia. Local politicians, including Naperville Mayor Scott Worley, also attended, expressing their enthusiasm for the festival's success and its improvement from previous years. Festival goers enjoyed a diverse range of foods with 200 different dishes showcased and participated in a variety of activities, including bounce houses, pony rides, and cultural performances. Special recognitions were given to influential community members, such as entrepreneur Anisa Matana and police officer Sayed Qadri, who received awards for their service and their leadership. The event highlighted the importance of cultural celebration and community cohesion. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum.